if it's not by your choices and actions that your life is determined at birth, or right before birth, but by an entity's arbitrary whim, then that entity would be an evil tyrant, making it unworthy of worship. I know someone's going to say, oh, but God's unworthy of worship, the Christian God, because he arbitrarily decides that you shall be born poor. Not arbitrarily. He has reasons. For example, if you want someone to be rich, like the Pharaoh, it is so that God will make his power known later. He wanted the Pharaoh to be rich, so that the Pharaoh could be powerful in the world, so that the Pharaoh could chase the Hebrews, so that God could kill the Pharaoh, so that God could make his power known, that the greatest kingdom in the world, Egypt, with glory greater than India's, by the way, Egypt was unable to capture even one of God's sheep in his flock. They crossed the sea, but the Egyptians drowned in that sea. So, isn't that arbitrary? But in the case of Brahma, like this guy, I already covered this. This is the Hindu god that is always fighting himself on everything, because everything is Brahma. So every time there's a fight, it's Brahma fighting himself. When a rooster fights another rooster, Brahma is fighting himself again. Oh, there he is again, the crazy guy. Oh, it's Brahma. The cockroach fights the scorpion. Oh, Brahma fights Brahma. Brahma is the roach. Brahma is the roach. Shit, Brahma is everything. That makes no sense whatsoever. It's crazy. But you don't care. You want to fit into your society. That's why you cling to it, right? And the privileges of the high caste that Hinduism offers to you. But the rich who suck on the blood of the poor, they're going to pay for that in hell. You're not getting away with anything. You're only accumulating guilt for the day of wrath, you rich people. Not that all rich are bad. Almost all of them are, according to Jesus. Let's see here. So, no, God isn't an evil tyrant. In just another video, in response to my video, Basketball is Satanic, where I proved that, something unheard of, I'm sure. And for a long time, most of my life, until recently, I didn't even know that it was satanic. The game itself, with some of the elements involved. Someone told me that, hey, Satan must be the good guy. God kills people, so he must be evil. But God kills people who deserve to die. And the Philistine babies, well, first God gave the Philistine nation time to repent, and they didn't repent. They just got worse. They kept sacrificing their children to Baal and whatever else they did. So God eventually was like, I am the landlord of the land. I'm going to kick out these pagans and put my people here because they're in the way, and I want my people in this land. I have chosen the center of 3 continents, Israel. India is not the center of the world strategically. India is not the center of the world geographically, or in terms of religious importance, nor in terms of political importance. Israel is the center of the world in terms of religious and ultimately political importance, because Israel isn't just a little country. Currently it controls the most powerful country, the United States. The US is Israel's bitch. So anyway, digression over. Your false dichotomy fallacy between karma and Brahma don't work. It would be both. God is self-contradicting in a perpetual war against himself. Wow. Imagine if Brahma were a person. Would you marry someone who's always punching their face? No, because then you'd be insane too. But Hindus do the equivalent of that. Hinduism is one of the most obviously wrong religions out there. I mean, Zoroastrians worship fire, but Hindus say that shit is God. Wow. So let's see here. If you worship him, he thinks you're deluded because he's against himself. So a Hindu is like Brahma, Aum, 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 and then the Hindu goes to the Hindu temple and then has sex with a prostitute because that's very spiritual. And then Brahma's like, why are you worshipping me? I hate myself. I'm always fighting myself. So then he says, Kali is not demon. She is a goddess. Because, give me a reason. Why should I worship that bitch? That demonic looking, as you admitted, demonic looking, blue skinned. That's going to be interpreted by the History Channel as proof of ancient aliens. I plan videos on how dumb belief in aliens is, and how the best arguments for them are absolute shit. Anyway, there's no reason to believe that murderous, satanic thing were a goddess. No, she's obviously a demon. He said, and he said so. Now, this is me quoting him, but I already showed that he said so in my part 1. I am not going to convert to Christianity. Your eternal loss. You need God. He doesn't need you. And I already proved that the God of the Bible is the right one in my video with a prophecy that only God could deliver, because only God knows the future perfectly. Now, in some things, the devil knows the future because God has let the devil know the future. For example, the devil, who is the father of lies and therefore the source of all false religions, Satan, which is why you have the dragon in false religions like Hinduism, Shintoism probably. I'm not sure about that because there's a lot of gods I haven't learned about in Shintoism. You have the dragon in, I think you have the world serpent in Viking religion. So there's the dragon again, serpent dragon. In so-called Buddhism, you have snakes everywhere. The dragon, Satan, the one of knowledge, supposedly. Satan is the father of lies, so he's the source of these false religions, and therefore, what I forgot what I was saying. Oh, therefore he can put some prophecies or some foreshadowings of the future that God has already revealed to him, or that he knows because he was with God originally, and he can know some things about the future. For example, he knows that the Antichrist will lose an eye, and he's preparing for that to happen. For one of his Antichrists to fight the other Antichrist, the Jewish versus the Muslim Antichrist. You know the world is being taken over by Islam. So there's going to be the Islam versus the other leader of the Zionist world or whatever. The Antichrist versus Antichrist. That's the dichotomy that's coming. So Satan is preparing for one of them to lose the right eye, or knows that's going to happen. That's why he made Odin one-eyed, for example, as a foreshadowing. In other words, the one-eyed will be Odin, the one-eyed will be God or whatever. Anyway, back to this. I would rather convert to Buddhism and Hinduism. These never declared war in the name of religion. Oh, yeah, sure. First of all, Buddhists in Myanmar murder Muslims and go after them. The Rohingya, I think they're called. Because Buddhists aren't peaceful, like you were lied to believe, as you wish were the case. No, they're not peaceful. I live in a Buddhist country. The other day, a Buddhist, because almost all of them are Buddhist, he was drunk and he wanted to murder me. He singled me out because I'm a foreigner and he's probably racist. Anyway. No, Buddhists are not better than other people. They're just like other people. There is no good country. They're all selfish. Now, one time a so-called Buddhist, I say so-called because Buddha means enlightened one. I don't want to call him enlightened. He was not enlightened. One time I got like $5 from a Buddhist so-called Buddhist, who saw that I was in need. While other Buddhists ignored me, one of them cared. However, there was a young woman, a pretty young woman who claimed to be Christian, and she cared a lot more and gave me a lot more help. So that's pretty interesting. When they claim to follow Jesus, and then they actually care more. Interesting. Of course, not always. Most people who claim to follow Jesus are frauds and heretics, and they're selfish shits. Like my family, I excommunicated. And as for Hindus fighting for Hinduism, well, there's the Hindu Reconquista that Hindus have been doing against Islam. And they've been killing Muslims to advance Hinduism. So this guy's a liar. He knows this. He's not that ignorant. Or maybe he is that ignorant. No, he's just lying. So told him that, and here I prove that the so-called Buddha is a fraud and a liar and a hypocrite. So I look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this. Your link says that Brahman is the ultimate reality, and all is a manifestation of him. But that includes poop. So your God is shit, literally. Or do you cherry pick? That would make you a hypocrite. Hypocrites are not good people. You don't want to be a hypocrite, so you better accept that shit, literally. And this is his response. I did not expect this. This was just almost too good to be true. Even though it's not good, because he's accepting shit as divine, which is insane and extremely deluded of him. If you're listening to this, and I'm going to tell you that I did this video, God willing, you know shit's not holy, man. You know it's not holy. Don't lie to yourself. Hinduism requires you to lie to yourself. It requires you to look at a piece of shit and say, this is God. That's what you have to do if you're a consistent Hindu. But no Hindu is consistent, because look, he says, he is all. And yes, shit included. Haha, it's so funny. My religion says shit is God. No, it's actually, it is funny, but it's also sad. You're laughing at how ridiculous your own religion is. You can't make this stuff up. Also, no, I mean, you can make up Hinduism, but not that someone would be so shameless as to say that shit is God. He says also no one really worships Brahma. In other words, he's saying no one worships shit, even though shit is God, included as God in his religion. So why does no Hindu worship shit? Because Hindus are hypocrites. They cherry pick. All of you Hindus are hypocrites. You cherry pick what is God and what isn't. Your religion is a joke. You don't even follow your religion. If you did, you would have a shit God. I am shit man. Worship me. Oh crap, I'm being loud. My neighbor might hear me. He's like, oh, there he is talking to himself again. I'm not talking to myself, I'm talking to you. So there you go. Look at this. Look at this. And then he says, the only gods I believe is Brahman and of course Vishnu. I thought he said Brahma or Brahman was everything, or that everything is a manifestation of this one. In which case, Brahman is shit. In which case, you have to worship shit to worship Brahman, or you're a hypocrite. He's a hypocrite. And Vishnu, I think that's the blue guy with the flute, with the long hair, because it's a symbol for the Antichrist, who is androgynous. Look at Baphomet, he has a phallus and female breast combined. Androgynous equals Antichrist is a motif. And then he tried to turn the tables because he understood that he looks really bad when he says that his God is shit. Your God is also shit, because according to you, God created shit. God cursed the world, but God is separate from his creation. He doesn't understand my religion. And I told him so. So you can pause and read. You're fighting yourself. My dad's right hand and my dad's left hand. I choose his left hand. He's still fighting himself because he's insane. That's nonsense. So the moral of the story is Hinduism is shit.